A new report from the Wall Street Journal says that switching jobs can cause people to put less money into their 401k retirement plans. So we're going to take care of that today. Money and business expert Derek Kinney is joining us to talk about why this happens and how you can protect and grow your retirement savings, because that's the whole reason you start these accounts in the first place. Derek, thanks so much for being with us today.
My pleasure. Great to be with you, Jason.
This is a big deal because we have to count on ourselves these days to fund retirement. We don't see as many pensions and so forth, so this is it. So the first question I have for you, Derek, is why does switching jobs actually cost people money in their 401k savings there?
Well, no one is coming to rescue your retirement account, so the burden falls entirely on you, but there's two ways people lose money. First of all, if they change jobs, oftentimes there's a delay between the time they leave the old job, start the new job, and then enroll in the new 401k. It can be months, and if the market's red hot, now you're missing out on your money growing, but also the company match growing as well. But also we find sometimes when people leave a company, they don't actually invest it wisely, or they leave it very conservatively, so they're actually leaving money on the table because it's too conservative for what their risk tolerance actually is.
So you're missing out on all these gains that may be made in the markets while your money is just sitting over there and you've started this new job over here, and maybe you're distracted with this new job and this goes on for a while. You really miss out. What are the best ways, once you do get your retirement moved over to where it should be and you're watching over things? Derek, I think a lot of people get intimidated by this. What are the best ways to invest in a 401k for retirement?
Well, you know me, I like to keep it super simple for our viewers, and I find, having built a successful financial planning business over many, many years, simple is the best way to go. So what you want to do is what I call set and forget. You want to work with your advisor or figure out, based on the options they make available to you, which options match your personal risk tolerance. In other words, when you lay your head on the pillow at night, can you still sleep not worrying about, am I too aggressive in the 401k? This would typically be something like the S&P 500 index or a bond fund or something growth oriented. That way, while you're working hard, we want your money working equally as hard for you. The key is to set it up that way each paycheck, it automatically goes in and buys. Sometimes when the market's high or low, it averages it out, but it gets the money working for you.
Okay, very good. Okay, so let's say that somebody does one of these job switches that we were just talking about a few minutes ago. They leave their company. What options do they have when they are thinking about that 401k that was with their old company? What can they do now?
Well, certainly they can keep the 401k at the previous company, and sometimes that's the best way to do it. It's all based on the options that 401k has. However, sometimes you can now roll the money from the old 401k to the new 401k. Keep in mind, typically you don't get any matching on that money, but it consolidates it and keeps it in front of you so you don't forget about it. The other option is you could do what's called a self-directed IRA, kind of a savvy approach not many people talk about. If you do that, you roll it from a 401k to an IRA, now you have total control and you can invest in almost anything, so it gives you total flexibility and you don't pay any tax at all until you pull it back out. So again, talk to your advisor. All of these options, if you do them yourself, you might mess it up. An advisor can help guide you and avoid some of the pitfalls many people make.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times, Derek, when switching jobs, and I really like what you were talking about there, the flexibility it gives you if you put it into an IRA. If you're familiar with stocks and funds and so forth, it might be a really good idea for you just because it frees you up. It doesn't limit you to those choices that your employer is giving you to invest in. I always like to ask this, Derek, and I know you always like to answer this, and it's always helpful. What is the biggest mistake? I always like to know the mistakes in finance. What's the biggest mistake that people make with their 401k?
Well, there are actually two big mistakes. One is they invest too conservatively. Keep in mind, whether you're 25 or 55 watching right now, you probably have some time until your retirement. You want this money in there growing for you over the long haul. If it's only earning 1, maybe 2%, it's like your money's being lazy while you're working hard. We don't want that. The other big mistake, Jason, you'll get a kick out of this, is when they leave the company, they take the money out and they pay the early withdrawal penalty, and suddenly the shiny new truck is in the driveway. Or they've got the big screen TV, and not only does it cost them money, but it costs them a lot of taxes, penalties, and it can really hold you back from the retirement you really want. Once it's in that retirement account, keep it there, but make sure you keep track of it so your money works as hard for you as you worked for it.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do what you were just just talking about there. Derek, thank you so much for that. I think it's, it's instructive, though, for the rest of us to prevent those pitfalls as we go through life. It can be complicated. Thanks, Derek. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jason.